When I was in my 20s, there was a bar that I used to go to, and they had these $2 Long Island iced teas on Tuesdays. And I'm not saying that's why I chose to have Tuesdays and Wednesdays off. We're going to call it a perk. We're not going to say it was the reason I did that, but you knew where to find me on Tuesday nights. Let's just say that. So I'd go in there with a couple of my buddies. We'd sit down and we'd order our Long Island iced teas, and the waitress would come by, and I'd look at her and I'd say, every time you walk through, bring us another round of Long Islands. You don't have to ask. Just every time you walk through, just automatically bring them around until this guy over here is passed out in his chair. Then start bringing them by every hour. And my friend John that was there, who was notorious for dancing with the Budweiser beer cutout girl that was like one of those cardboard cutouts, and he would dance with her when he would get drunk.
I know John.
There were some mysterious stains on it that nobody could identify, but that's for another day. Anyway, back to the cruise. And for those of you that are saying we're like, 16, 17 minutes into this and there's been no gold making talk, that's probably going to be a theme.
You're listening to the Goblin Goldcast with Dex and Mac. I got mouths to feed, so let's get this thing started. Time is money, friend.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, Azeroth. You're listening to the Goblin Goldcast, your guide to making gold in World of Warcraft. This is episode 53. I'm your host, Dex, coming to you from Napa, California. With me on Skype is the man who always complains that sex is a pain in the ass, but I think he's doing it wrong. My co-host, Mac, from Anchorage, Alaska. How you doing, Mac?
You're just so wrong, man.
That was wrong on a lot of levels, wasn't it?
That was just...
Make do.
So, I don't even know where to go with that.
Well, that's the whole problem. I mean, I think I established that as a joke to begin with, right? I mean,
oh man,
you will figure out where to go with this, and
yeah, I don't.
Oh, there goes our rating again. So, don't worry, I'll bleep that entire part out. So, how was your week, Matt?
The week was pretty good.
And the week before that, and the week before that. And we've been gone for like 6 months.
You were gone. I had no harassment for... No, it's been a lot of fun. I, again, went raiding with Lion Pride's Tavern on last week and again this week.
Right.
Still trying to get Kill Jaden down.
Okay.
But we're having
I'm going to
fun.
Pretend like I know exactly what you're talking about when I don't, but okay.
You slacker.
Well, yeah, I mean, rating me not do, so.
Yeah. Well, I still don't do it well, but I'm getting better.
Yeah. Well, I'm up to level 105. I mean, at this rate, by BlizzCon, I might be ready to raid.
Maybe by next expansion, you'll be doing old content rating.
Oh, man.
Well, it was interesting. We've had some fun. Enjoyed work. Like I said, been playing, working on getting my all my class mounts up. That's my next big thing I'm trying to do.
How many have you got so far?
I've got all but 3. I got 9, so I got all but 3. I had to do math backwards and take my shoes off.
So now, as somebody who hasn't done any yet. How complicated and how extensive are they? I mean, they take a lot of time.
It depends. Some of them are pretty easy, or at least they seemed easy to me. There's a couple of them. The Rogue one, that one can be challenging because you've got to get into a couple areas. You have to sneak through some cities,
right?
For the opposing faction.
Is it kind of like the artifact weapon, where some of them were? I haven't done all the artifact weapons, but as I understand it, some of those are a little bit more intensive than others. Is it
yes, some are more challenging than others. I went over and I've been kind of teasing Mrs. Mack because you haven't been around for me to do it. And I've been showing her the class mounts, and so I actually was going to, even though we joke about the pizza pan, or I guess fidget spinner, I've heard it called too.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
that the mages get. I decided I was going to get the mage one, and I just figured it was, I got all set up. It was like, okay, I'm doing this last quest, and I'll get the thing. And I called Mrs. Mack up to come watch me do this quest, and she came up, and I was started off in Frostbeck, and you have to do 3 different phases of it: the arcane, the fire, and the frost. And I did the arcane and was just jumping out of the way, blinking, doing my thing. Killed that one. I was like, this is easy. And I said, oh, hold on a second, I'm almost done with this. I'm going to show you the new mount. And then I went and I tried to do the fire spec, and that thing kicked my tail.
So the first couple of phases were a lot easier than the final phase.
No, the arcane phase. You have to do 3 phases. There's an arcane. Then you do a frost and a fire.
Right.
And the frost and fire, they have these little minions that pop out, and the minions do a lot of damage.
Yeah, but they're really short and yellow, and some of them only have one eye.
Yeah, right.
Oh, not that kind of minion.
Wrong minions. Yeah.
Banana. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Anyway, so yeah,
I was picturing something completely different. I was thinking, man, I got to get this pizza pan. That's what I was thinking for a fidget spinner, whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, no, Mrs. Mack laughed, and as I was saying 4-letter words, I tried it a couple times. It's like, this is impossible. I did a little research, changed specs to arcane.
Right.
And that's the way to finish that thing up, because your arcane explosion takes out the minions, the boss's minions, pretty quickly.
I'm going to make a guess, and you tell me if this is wrong. Are you expected to change specs for each of the 3 phases? Like, is fire? Are you supposed to be arcane to combat fire and so forth?
No, it just was easier. There's little vendors that are there that use class all resources for. I went back to Draenor for a minute.
I was getting nostalgic. I was going to let you keep going.
Anyways, so you use your class all resources, and you can buy these items that allow you to take, or it's a damage shield for. One's for fire, one's for the arcane. Anyways,
right. So
you use some of those up, and those help tremendously. But yeah, I was able to do it, even though arcane. The only thing I ever use arcane for is just farming old dungeons. But I have the keys mapped out well enough to be able to handle that. So
But you completed that one?
I completed it. Got the mage one. That's of all of them I've done so far. That was the hardest for me.
Okay, but it was just that one part that was hard.
Oh yeah. Well, that was the main part,
Oh, okay. So it wasn't like you could have done them in any order that you want. It was
no. You're on a platform. You've gone up to the certain part, and it puts you on this platform, and there's 3 little aspects of this thing you're trying to put together. One's arcane, one's fire, and one's frost, and you have to go and do each one of the phases. And if you exit out, it starts it all over again. You got to do all the phases again. So,
right. But the different phases there, you don't get to choose which one you do when.
Yeah, you get to choose which one you do first, which one you do second.
Okay.
But at any one of those phases, you could have completed 1 or 2 of the phases. If you quit, then next time you go back in, you're starting all over again.
Okay, I got you.
So
you think the mage, in general, the mage one is the hardest one, you think, so far?
So far for me, at least. And I don't play a mage that much, and that could have been the issue with me as well.
Didn't you say the shaman one was kind of easy?
Shaman one was cake.
See, now I don't get. I mean, the shaman mount is so awesome. I mean, we've said that before.
Right.
I don't get that the shaman quest was. You know what I think they did? I don't think that they. I think when they went and did these, they had the guys that were setting up the quest go through and maybe on Monday they're doing the mage quest, and on Tuesday they're doing the warrior quest, and they get to Friday and they've got 6 quests left to do, and it's like just do the last 6.
Yeah, come on, guys! It's beer 30.
Hurry
Let's
up
go.
Yeah. And I think the designers of the mounts, I think it was the same way. I think on Monday it was let's take Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and we'll design the shaman mount.
Yeah.
It's Friday. We've got a couple of mounts to go. It's 4:45 on Friday, and they're like, yeah, we forgot to do the mage mount. Why don't you guys go ahead and crank that out real quick? Look for any inspiration you can. I'm going to order Domino's.
Yeah.
That's my guess. I'm just going to order Domino's and play with my fidget spinner while I'm waiting for it to arrive, There
we go.
So it's pretty bad when a pizza can get to your house faster than the police can.
Oh, and then it's another thing. It's funny, and this is non-game related. I don't know why it reminded me of this, but we have a friend that we know real well, and my wife decided she was going to go off and make a birthday cake for her and drop her off at her work. Mm-hmm. And the gal works at an air taxi service. They do flight seeing and things like that. And so we went over there, and it's for us. I know not for the rest of the country. For us, it's starting to get towards fall. It's getting a little chillier, not cold. I mean, it's
right.
Anyways, the other day it was 51 degrees. There's a little bit of rain. Light drizzle. And we go to drop this cake off at her friend's work for her. And we drive up, pull up, and I jump out, and I'm wearing jeans and a T-shirt. She's wearing a short-sleeve shirt. And there's all these people sitting looking at the float planes that are out there on the dock, and they're all wearing these, you can tell they're from out of state. They're wearing all these parkas and jackets and raincoats, and I come walking, and the people are looking at me like I'm nuts walking out to a T-shirt and jeans. They must be locals,
Yeah.
But anyways, why don't you tell us how your week went? You were on a cruise.
Well, I've got a question about the air taxis.
Oh, okay.
I mean, because I never dealt with the air taxis before. I mean, do they work like regular taxis?
No. It's a flight seeing. You're flight seeing, or if you want to go out, they'll fly you out. If you want to go to a specific place, they fly out for hunting and fishing trips.
Okay. So you can't, like, when you're leaving the hotel, say, call me an air taxi, and...
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And then some idiot with a busted-up plane that has an Uber sticker on it shows up, and you're like, oh, crap. I would totally put an Uber sticker on one of those air taxis. I would do that just to freak people out. You get them halfway there. That's it. Ride's over. Get out of my plane. Because that happens. But anyway, yeah, I was in Alaska, too.
Yeah. And you didn't come in and say hi.
I did.
You didn't get your Uber flight.
Yeah. It was the equivalent of, you were in Texas and you didn't come see me. Well, I was at the top of the Panhandle and you live in Houston, so I didn't quite make it to where you live. I was, for those that don't know Alaska, I was a little south of you.
Yeah. They don't have roads where he was going.
There are no roads. We don't need roads, except that they do. And Alaska is interesting because it is the only capital in the only capital in the U.S. that I know of, besides maybe the capital of Hawaii for obvious reasons, that you can only get there by boat and plane.
Yeah.
It's like, where should we have our capital? Anchorage, the big city? Wasilla, just outside of there? Nah, let's go put it in Juneau, where nobody can frickin' get there. Let's do that. So
we can hide the politicians, yeah.
So I went to
all of their offices are here in Anchorage.
So I went to Haines, I went to Ketchikan, I went to Juneau, hit Victoria in Canada while we were there.
British Columbia, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, for those that don't know, this was a cruise with me and my wife and my 3 young children. Oldest one being 11, youngest 6, middle one 9, and my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law. Trust me, it was way worse than it sounds. It was it was interesting. So we go on this cruise, and right when you get on the cruise, they have this deal for alcohol. Now we had the little cards to where our sodas were, any kind of drinks, whatever, were covered, and you don't have to pay every time you want to, get a Coke or something. But they also had this deal for $52 a day, and it was unlimited alcohol all day. And my mother-in-law, I saw that and I said, that sounds interesting. And my mother-in-law's like, no, I don't think that's a very good deal. She said, you're never going to be able to drink enough in a day to make that, worth it. And I thought about it for a second and challenge accepted. Now I have to say,
she don't know me very well.
She was incorrect.
Yeah.
And in fact, Mac, if you had been there, I think they would have had to make a special policy rule for you. They would have had to have some kind of exception, something in there. They make a special rule just for you.
I can't get out of my stateroom. What's going on? Yeah.
Yeah, it would be. There would be like only one bar, and it would be that you would be allowed to go to, and they would change which bar that was without telling you. And they'd have to work something. But
that just reminds me of the first time I ever got upgraded to first class without knowing it.
Yeah,
I guess they were. And I remember calling you when I got back to Anchorage. I got on a flight in Salt Lake City, and I was walking towards the back of the plane. I looked at my ticket and I was like, well, this is towards the front. I walked in. I was in first class. It was like, rock on. I'd never flown first class. Sat down. We haven't even pulled away from the gate, and the stewardess comes up and asks me, would you like a drink? What do you got? And I guess it was Heineken is what I ended up having. It was like, cool. So we haven't even pulled away from the gate, and I'm having a Heineken. And then once we took off, she would come walking by and shake my little can of Heineken, and every time it was empty, she'd go, "You want another one?" I remember landing in Anchorage and calling you as I was waiting for my cab, going, "Dude, they put me in first class. I've been drinking on them for the last 5 hours."
When I was in my 20s. By the way, last week marked what was it? 36 years we've known each other as of last week.
It's been a while, yeah.
Yeah, but when I was in my 20s, there was a bar that I used to go to, and they had these $2 Long Island iced teas on Tuesdays. And I'm not saying that's why I chose to have Tuesdays and Wednesdays off. We're going to call it a perk. We're not going to say it was the reason I did that, but you knew where to find me on Tuesday nights. Let's just say that. So I'd go in there with a couple of my buddies. We'd sit down and we'd order our Long Island iced teas, and the waitress would come by, and I'd look at her and I'd say, every time you walk through, bring us another round of Long Islands. You don't have to ask. Just every time you walk through, just automatically bring them around until this guy over here is passed out in his chair. Then start bringing them by every hour. And my friend John that was there, who was notorious for dancing with the Budweiser beer cutout girl that was like one of those cardboard cutouts, and he would dance with her when he would get drunk.
I know John.
There were some mysterious stains on it that nobody could identify, but that's for another day. Anyway, back to the cruise. And for those of you that are saying we're like, 16, 17 minutes into this and there's been no gold making talk, that's probably going to be a theme. So we're on the cruise, and when we got off in Haines, Alaska, we're walking down the gangplank, and I noticed I am the only person in short pants and a t-shirt. I mean, I'm sorry, but it was I think it was before August 1st. I think it was like July 30th, August 1st, something like that. It was right there at the end of July.
We had some of our heat waves around then.
And I'm sorry, but it was not cold. My mother-in-law, long sleeve shirt, sweater, lightweight jacket, heavy jacket, scarf, shivering. I said, if I was dressed like you, I'd get heat stroke from that, But we walk off the ship. My wife insists that I bring this long sleeve hoodie in case I get cold later. She said, you better bring this, because she had 4 kids, not 3 on the trip, right? So I agreed to bring it with the understanding that she was carrying it, not me. But so we get to this wildlife preserve, and they're showing all the wild animals and everything, and and they had a grizzly bear there, and a bunch of other things. They had what did they have? They had a Wolverine. A lot of interesting things there. Kids had a ball seeing it. And then this really weird guy. He's barefoot, right, as he's walking through all this stuff. And he's walking through. There's a stuff out there called Devil's Club, and it's all over Alaska, and it's a nightmare, as you know.
Oh yeah.
You don't grab onto it. This guy's walking barefoot. It's all around him, and I just think he's nuts. But anyway, he's giving his talk, and he asks us all, this big group that came from San Francisco on the ship, what do we think the most dangerous animal in Alaska is? And people are saying polar bear, grizzly bear. Some people that saw the Wolverine thought maybe that. And they're all making their guesses. And all of a sudden he hears me in the back say, a moose. And his head whips around so fast, and he looks at me in this sea of it was a cruise. It was a sea of old people with jackets and shivering and everything, and he sees this guy in short pants and a t-shirt who says that a moose is the most dangerous animal in Alaska. And he said, that's right, you've been here before, you've heard this talk before. I said, I lived here before. I lived in Alaska. And because people are always talking about how great the moose are, so cute, let's go look at the moose, and then they make the mistake of walking between a moose and its calf,
yeah.
Or they just happen to cross paths with a moose that's in a bad mood for some reason. Wants to stomp them into the ground. But it was a fun, interesting cruise, and kind of on a gold making theme. Let me just point out that when you were on a cruise with a bunch of rich people, almost everybody I ran into on the cruise is wealthier than me, and they were lazy. I got to see lazy close up. You're on a cruise. Now you're on vacation. You're supposed to be lazy. I'm right there with them on this. But I really got to see close-up examples of how people will spend money to avoid effort. And we talk about this on the podcast so much about take advantage of the fact that people would rather be doing something else. If you find something to specialize in that people will pay for, remember, if they don't find the same joy in doing it, or they're not doing it in the bulk that you're doing it in, it's just not going to be worth it to them. And you can almost name your price to save them the agony of having to get out of their recliner and do it themselves, right? But I also played poker on the cruise. And, wow, playing poker with really wealthy people is interesting, too. Because I played poker with some people that weren't very skilled, but they had a lot of money. So it's like, it's only $200 more. I mean, I've only got a 6 high, but that might be good. It was interesting. And so I had a lot of fun. And as you can probably tell, I go through my whole life thinking, how can I apply this to gold making or money making? I did the same thing for money making. But anyway, it was interesting. I was really glad to be home because it was a lot of work.
Babysitting the mother-in-law? Yeah.
Oh, my God. I'm not going to go into detail, but there's a certain amount of high maintenance that goes along with the family. So I'm not going to get.
Are you telling me you use WoW as an escape?
I'm not telling you much because my sister-in-law started to occasionally listen, so I'm not going to go too deep.
No.
This might be the episode she decides to listen to. She won't listen to them all because, frankly, she says, I'm tired of hearing your crap all the time. So, it's like I saved myself a bleep there. I almost didn't, But anyway, so that was that. I got back. You and I got to play a little bit. We reinforced my belief that the way to level right now is through the invasions because, I'd be going through doing quests and I'd be going along okay, and you'd pop in with your flying mount. Let's go hit an invasion and boom, 2 levels.
Yeah.
So it's quick. So highly recommended. Especially I had all this rested experience. Yeah, I was obviously fully rested when I got back. And
your tune was.
My tune was, exactly. It's a good catch on that. But I also had all of the experience gear and everything, and so I was maximizing out things. But anyway, so that was good. I mean, we're probably about 24 minutes or so into the podcast, so we should probably start talking about a little bit of gold making.
Really?
Okay. I'm just saying, not everybody gives a crap about my vacation, so. So anyway, a couple of things that I wanted to bring up, and I know this might be old.
There was an email.
Oh yeah, well I'll let you do email first then.
I forgot about that. Yeah, we put it anyways. We did have an email this week, and so I figured we would answer the question. But he said, quick question: the realm I'm on hasn't been very gold making friendly. He's on Moonrunner. Okay. I'm looking into starting a new tune on a new server. I've heard the pros and cons of low pop versus high pop servers, but want to hear your opinions. Thanks, and I love this guy's name. It's You're So Vain. URSOVAIN.
Yeah, and see, now he probably thinks this podcast's about him.
Yeah.
So, and if you don't get that, then you're too young to be listening to this podcast. Dude, every 20-something listening to this is going, I don't get it.
I don't get it, yeah.
So, anyway, you want to take that low pop versus high pop first, or you want me to?
I sent him an email back, and I told him we would talk about it on the show. And I have recently come from a high pop. I moved one tune from a well, I guess it wasn't a high pop. Anyways, I moved one tune over to Dragonblight for the folks over there at Lion's Pride Tavern,
right?
To raid with them and actually be in the guild over there. But
are they low pop or high pop?
Dragonblight is a low pop server.
Okay.
But I came off Whisperwind, which is also a low pop. But the differences in certain prices on certain things, if I'd have done a little more research, because I got over there and it's like, oh crap, I didn't bring any gold. I mean, I brought about $30K with me, but
right.
I would have brought some more items with me that I could sold in the auction house, because there's some things that are selling really, really well over there.
Right.
Again, I just moved for convenience to be with them in their guild. But anyways, we'll listen to your ideas on low and high pop servers.
Well, I don't think that there's a clear-cut answer for everyone on that. I think you have to decide which camp you want to be in on this. But in my opinion, it's, do you want to be a big fish in a little pond or not? To me, that's what it boils down to. If you're on a low pop server and you have the desire to become the mogul there and to control everything, there might be enough auction house action to satisfy you, but there is the danger that there's not enough there to, I mean, if you want to sell transmog, I would say stay away from low pop.
Oh yeah.
Because it already takes weeks sometimes to sell some of these higher end pieces, and you might not be able to sell them at any price on a low pop server. So that's something there. So it depends on what you want to go into. If you are wanting to do something where you're highly dependent on buying mats in the auction house, low pop's going to be rough, because if you need, let's say you need, 2,000 Ember Silk a week, and there isn't 2,000 Ember Silk a week that ever goes for sale at any price on that realm, well, you don't have a supply. Obviously, I picked something that's really easy to farm, but yeah. So I probably should have picked something different. But you get the idea. If you are dependent on materials from the auction house for your method of making gold, or if you need there to be enough people on the realm that your unusual transmog items will sell, then you want a high pop realm. Now, on a high pop realm, you're going to have a lot of competition.
Right, I run into that a lot.
So it could go either way. But if I'm given the choice, I'm going to choose a medium high kind of a medium high realm. I don't want to be like, the super high realms are kind of rough. But I would want to be towards the, on the scale, kind of towards a high realm, weighted that direction. That's what I would personally choose. I hate the idea of going to the auction house to buy a commonly sold item and they're not for sale. That's nuts to me. And what happens is when it does go for sale, it's going to be an inflated price. But that doesn't create really an opportunity, because if you look at it as, oh, hey, it's a low pop, nobody's going to be selling the item that I want to sell. Well, you better make sure that it's not so low pop that there isn't going to be a demand for it either.
Right.
So you have to weigh all of that. But yeah, it's a good question, and I would say for most people, choose a high pop realm or toward kind of that direction a little bit.
And I found, for me, on some of my low pop realms, I will have things that sell for a lot more than they do on the higher pop. There's
Right.
a lot less competition, but I have some wonky things that happen.
Yeah.
Like on Dalaran, which is a high pop server, hex sweep bags go for 3,300 gold a pop.
Right.
You go to some of the low pop servers, and I've gone to a low pop server where they're selling for 1,500 to 1,700 a bag.
Right.
And then you go Ember Silk bag on Dalaran, which you'd expect to be real high priced, are going for 250 gold a pop. And I've gone to some of the low pop servers where they're 500 gold a bag, and they're a lot easier to make. So so you gotta look at what you're making and use UndermineJournal.com. Take a look, find out what your profession of choice or your gold making method is, and check the market that way.
This might be a little controversial. There are people that might, call me on this and say that I'm incorrect on this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I don't think it just comes down to low pop versus high pop. I don't think it comes down to PvP versus blue server. I don't think it really comes down to that. Just only that. Although transmog is going to usually sell better, I think, on a roleplay server, just by the nature of what it is. But having said that, that does have a lot of impact, but it's not the only thing. I find that each realm kind of has its own little personality, and it's the people that are at the top, whether it be the top of the rating, the high end rating guild, the top dog, or the top end mogul selling things on that realm. The people at the top and the bulk of the people, how they react to things, kind of form the personality of the realm, I think. And you will see differences. You'll see attitude differences. Some realms, people just, that's the price, I'll pay it. And other realms, you'll see where people will dicker with you on price and try to get you to knock your price down. They'll send you messages about something you have for sale in the auction house, trying to get you to take down the price when you're the only one selling it. It's different. You're going to run into differences all over the place. And it's one easy way to see that is to compare a North American realm to a European realm, and you'll see some of those differences because people that are from different parts of the world react to things differently. Anyway, that's my take. That's my take on that. I did want to point out that, and this is old news for a lot of people I know. But we haven't mentioned it on the show. The token limit, where you could only have 36 and 24 months that you could purchase.
Right.
That went away with 7.2.5, and we hadn't mentioned it on the show yet. I had mentioned that I believed that it was going away as soon as they made it, so that you could use those tokens for Blizzard bucks. I felt like that was going to go away. But that's nice. That's nice if we, in case we run into a situation to where there's going to be a big price fluctuation that's trackable. we can take advantage. I think the days of getting them for $32K a piece are kind of gone forever.
Yeah.
But there might be a situation to where they're expected to take another huge climb in price, whether it be next expansion or something that happens in the next patch.
I'm thinking next expansion, because now you can buy the expansions and things with your Blizzard bucks. I'm expecting to see when the next expansion's launch or becomes available for sale. I'm expecting to see token prices to take a big jump around that time.
I would say that logically that would be a pretty safe bet. I have not been any more sure of something being the truth since the Fellbat pets.
Yeah.
I'm that sure. No,
how many bags of those do you still have?
I don't even want to talk about it, man. I don't even talk about it. But
I still haven't sold one. I mean, I haven't tried to sell one.
I don't even look at them anymore. They're in a tab that I don't even open up on the Guild Bank. But
I did buy them at a low enough price I could actually double my gold if I sell them. But I'm still holding on. I'm holding on to hope. Five expansions from now.
I should probably start a rumor that they're going to make them clickable and they'll change into a random rare mount or something. And then put them for sale real quick after I say that. But let's see. Also on my list of things to talk about, I did notice since I came back, somebody on WoW Economy was looking for some advice. What they've been doing, they have an interesting take on how they're making gold. They're doing a little bit of what I've been doing for a long time with the Sky Golem, and they make 10 Sky Golems a month, and that's all they do to make gold is make the 10 Sky Golems. And when I say that's all they do, I mean that's all they do. They log in for a minute per character per day, basically log in, make their jards, and that's it. And then after a month, they make their Sky Golem and put it for sale. They buy all their mats. They don't farm or produce any of their mats. And so what they're doing by doing that on their realm, and your mileage may vary, quite a bit, as a matter of fact. But this person makes about $300K a month, and that's all they do. And I looked at that and I thought, I'm seeing money left on the table on this. That's how I look at that.
Yeah.
and so do they. Because they admit that hey, yeah, I could definitely get a lot more profit out of this if I were farming the mats and all that. But this person's looking at I keep saying he, I'm making an assumption there, but this person is trying to keep time down to nothing. So it's basically 10 minutes a day for gold making, and they're not really looking to expand that a great deal, maybe 5-10 more minutes or something like that. And so they were looking for advice for what to do on that, and they did get they got some good advice for a couple of different things that they could do, including making various bags like hex weave and so forth. But what I wanted to approach on that is, if on your realm, if it's worthwhile doing, I mean, that might be something to think about, because it takes literally nothing to get your engineering up on a tune from 0 to 600 and get the recipe for the Sky Golem. It's fast. I've done it with so many characters, and it's fast. I do it all in one session when I go through, and you've got the catch-up mechanic in Warlords that lets you do that really quickly. So the setup for that doesn't take a long time and a lot of effort at all, and it's something that will pay dividends forever, basically, after that, or until nobody wants the Sky Golem, or until the mats are no longer priced where you can get them. But if on your realm the mats aren't too out of line, and if the jards is the thing that is the holdup for making them, and there aren't too many for sale on your realm, might be a way to go. It'll certainly more than pay for your token every month.
Right.
So, that's an option there. But again, like with any of these things, take a look at what the mats are selling for and the final product, because shocker, Sometimes you'll find that the mats are worth a lot more, and there's 20 people selling the final product, and you're fighting price when you could be selling your raw mats to these other people that are making these things and make more gold and not have to fight for it. Right. So you always want to look at which is the better way to go, to be the supplier or to be the person who sells the final product. I've been on both ends of that, and it's been profitable either way. Let's see. Did you have something you wanted to bring up before I go further? Or you want me
you had the notes. Yeah.
Okay. Next thing is there was some data mining done, and it looks like there's going to be a little bit of a change to getting flying in Legion. For people out there that are like me that have just not done it, been lazy or whatever, you haven't got your flying in Legion. I know that you were that way with Warlords. You didn't get it until it was already old content.
Oh, yeah. I was going to be leveling some more tunes, yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I did it for Warlords, the Medallion of the Legion was already out where you could just buy your way through the faction. And I took a look at it, and I said, you know what? I know how much gold I can make, and how much time it's going to take to get this faction up. I can get it up real quick, like in a day, real quick, just buying these medallions. And I looked at, the time savings and everything, and to me, it was a savings of gold to buy the tokens. Now, I know later the tokens went way up in price, when nobody was really farming them. But anyway, in 7.3, there's going to be an item that's going to be like that if the data mining holds true.
You said tokens, you mean medallions?
Oh, yeah. Did I say token of the Legion?
You said tokens.
Yeah, the medallions of the Legion, there'll be something that'll be like that, and if the data mining holds true. And so that means that there will be two opportunities there. If you haven't gotten flying yet, and you want to be able to buy those and save some time, and time is money and all that, and get through and get your faction up so that you can get your flying, which is the way I will be doing it. You can do that. And the other side of it, there's going to be a way to farm those. And they are going to sell like hotcakes.
Oh, they're going to sell for a bunch of gold.
They will sell for a lot, and they will sell fast. And I will be one of your customers, I'm sure.
I know the ones from Draenor are still going anywhere from 10 to 20 K apiece. I started doing the quest, and then I still had 20,000 faction to get up, and it's just like, the heck with this.
Yeah.
And I just went out and spent gold.
Yeah. Yep. And I want to also mention real quick, a lot of people have been getting account security warnings from Blizzard, an email. And it's interesting. I've been reading about this. I haven't received one. I know you haven't received one.
I've never received one.
Right. But people that are just now, maybe if you haven't had a lot of gold in the past, and if you have a new account and you're all of a sudden making gold, or if you've been around for a long time and you just haven't made gold and all of a sudden you're reaching about 1 million, people that are getting up to about 1 million seem to be triggering this email that's going out reminding you not to share your passwords and all of that. And I thought that was interesting. Now you had a theory about that.
Oh, I was just wondering if the people that are getting that have the Secure ID device or the Secure ID app on their phone.
Right, and you have that, right? Because I have
that. Actually, the one I've got is one you shared with me from BlizzCon back in 2000.
Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, so I mean, I've had that all along, and I know you have it. So maybe that's why some people are getting it and some are not. But there are people that are saying, "Well, no, I've made gold forever and I've never gotten it," and it seems to be newer people. But there are a couple of people that are old-time gold makers that are saying, "No, I got one too." So I don't know. Something is triggering it for some people, and it just kind of an interesting thing to put out there. It's anytime they're sending out a mass email to everybody, it kind of catches my attention.
No, when you get somebody like we talked about before, like KC that got hacked, I mean, that was just awful.
Yeah. I've also been hearing a lot about how people are getting a lot of grief for their pricing on things, whether it be the in the auction house, or getting hate mail, or getting grief in trade. And it seems to be that it's getting worse than it used to be. That's what I'm hearing from a lot of corners here. But I just want to say, and this is for Mac and I both, don't let others dictate your pricing.
Yeah, don't let the trolls make you decide you're going to sell something for less than you want to sell it for.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's somebody that you sell something cheap and somebody sends you an email cussing you out saying you're destroying the market, or you bark in trade and somebody thinks your price is too high and they call you an idiot or whatever. I mean, don't let that get to you. I mean, don't let some random idiot in game influence you. Instead, let these two idiots with a podcast influence you. That's the way to go. I mean, but anyway. But with that, I think that's going to about wrap up this week's episode. I'd like to thank Schaefer Bates for his awesome work as the Goblin voice at the beginning of each show. Also, Kevin McLeod at Incompetech.com for our theme music, Hot Rock, licensed under Creative Commons.
And if you'd like to get a hold of us, you can contact us at Mac, that's M-A-C, at GoblinGoldcast.com, or Dex, that's D-E-X, at GoblinGoldcast.com. If you can't reach us at our main email, we have an alternate email, MacGoblinGoldcast at gmail.com. You can contact us on Twitter at Goblin Goldcast, or you can visit us on Facebook.
And don't forget to visit the swag store at cafepress.com/Goblin Goldcast. And you can leave us a voicemail on our website, GoblinGoldcast.com. And please subscribe to us on iTunes or Stitcher if you listen to us there.
And we'll see you next week.
Now go make some gold.
I am the world's last barman poet.
Give us a kiss, you sexy beast! Go for it.
I see America drinking the fabulous cocktails I make. America's getting stinking on something I stir or shake. The sex on the beach. The schnapps made from peach. The velvet hammer. The Alabama slammer. I make things with juice and froth. The pink squirrel. The three-toed sloth. I make drinks so sweet and snazzy. The iced tea, the kamikaze, the orgasm,
Hands up the merchandise.
the death spasm, the Singapore sling, the ding-a-ling.
Ding-a-ling.
America, you're just devoted to every flavor I've got. But if you want to get loaded, why don't you just order a shot?